6:25, April the 20th, 2011, and this is a large hexahedron cluster that's located at a golf course on the west side of Toronto, and this cluster has been here for 2 months, and what it's doing, it's been making these smaller clusters that you see to the right of the screen that are glowing, and it's been charging them up and letting them loose to go ahead and do the same thing as it's doing right now all over the city of Toronto. Behind that cluster are countless numbers of these entities, and they are not all glowing. All those treetops that look like milky white substance, that's all these orbs. Every one of them can glow if they reach a certain velocity. And what they do is revolve around the nucleus till they reach a certain velocity, and then the nucleus sparks up and glows. And there are many of these orbs, and even clusters which are not charged up enough yet, but by tonight, later, maybe in an hour, they will all start to glow. And you can see that these are also large clusters, and that they are also in what's left of the trees. But most of those trees are not real anymore. They have been consumed and replaced by these entities. Those are not real trees. Those are masses upon masses of these entities in clusters. You can't see one branch, one twig, one bud now that it's spring. Nothing. All you can see is them. Whatever's left of the trees will soon become them. But all the tops of the trees are gone. And at night, just as it starts to get dark, all these clusters just go right up into the sky, and they form huge clouds. They cover all of the city of Toronto and the entire area. So that's when you see that the trees are gone, because when they go up into the sky, you no longer see the trees there. And then at dawn, or just before dawn, they start to come back and form the trees again, so that it looks like there are trees there. But all of that is an illusion. There are no trees. Wherever the milky substance is that you see, there is no more trees there. There are only maybe parts of trees that are lower down, but there is no branch or anything like that left where those things are. They have consumed all of the tree tops and all the branches. There are only maybe a few branches that they use to attach themselves to. Other than that, the whole area there, and I'll back off some more, and you can see that the whole area is just covered with them. And that's not the only area. All of Toronto, look, everywhere in the background, all the trees are like that. I'm gonna go over here to show another cluster that's not glowing, and this cluster is large as well. This cluster is about 20 feet across, or in diameter. And it's not glowing at the moment, but tonight that will be very bright. A cluster like that is composed of billions of these smaller orbs, and you can also see them all around that cluster in the air. But look at the size of that cluster. Those trees are 50, 60 feet tall that are there. Those are tall trees. And that cluster there is about 20 feet in diameter. Now, I believe that the orbs are clustered together sort of like a cocoon, and that's where they are laid from, like from eggs. I don't know exactly the process that they do, but it's some kind of a cocoon situation where they have a certain period that they stay in the cluster, and then they're released into the sky. And you can clearly see that it does look like a bunch of eggs together on a pile. But this is up in the air, high up in the air. That's about 30 feet up in the air. And being that there's no one playing golf right now because the weather's not very good, there's no one there to notice all these clusters at that location. I'm going to just check over here, see if there are any more in the trees. Okay, all the trees are covered with these things. Wherever you see that milky white texture, that's all done. Everything is covered by them. Everything. The whole area. There's another cluster right there. Look at the size of that one. There's one on top of it. Look at the size of these things. These are all huge clusters in trees. Just look at the size of those two clusters. There's one that's sort of dull, yellowish and very dull, but it's large. Look at the size of it. There's just one cluster next to the other. Look at it. Look at the size of the white one next to it. I'm just gonna back off to show that. That's one of those sand pits at a golf course, and that's loaded with them too. You can see that the whole thing is glowing, but being that it's sand, it's hard to tell. But you can tell that that's a big cluster right there. And then up in the tree, there's another big cluster. Just look at all those cocoons. And look at all the organisms. They're just flying around. They look like little bubbles. Look at the millions and billions of them that are in the air. And that's why you can't take a clear picture or a video or anything. The air is totally saturated with those organisms. And this is very much connected to the chemical spraying going on day and night around here. And there's a big connection between that and these things. Look at the size of those clusters. That's a different one. Just look at how many of them there are. They're all over. And the size of that one. Look at the size of it. And besides these clusters, the air is full. The ground is full. All the water around here, Lake Ontario, is full of these things. There's just so many of them. No computer in this world could count them all. How many there are. Look at all the movement. I'm just going to tighten the camera so you can see the movement. There are just zillions of them. I don't know the number for how many there are. That's how many of them there are. Everything in that whole area that you can see is them. Even the trees, everything. It's all them. And it all started with this one. And I put on about 50 videos of this one, and unfortunately people didn't believe me, but they're going to start believing me very soon, because this thing is not going to go away, and it's not going to do anything nice for us. So it all started with this one, making all those active clusters, which go on and make more clusters and activate more clusters. And as I was saying, I made well, at least 50 videos of this cluster from day one when it first arrived, and made a home there for itself, and created all of the orbs there that you see. All that milky white substance on the trees is all them. So that one large cluster that's a hexahedron created all those that you see. And just look at how many. Just look in the back how many. And look how many are in the air that are smaller than the clusters. They're just flying around. There are just zillions of them. There is no number to describe how many. In just this little area alone, let alone all over the city. Those there are going to light up pretty soon. You can see that they're starting to activate. The way they activate is the orbs rotate counterclockwise around the nucleus faster and faster, and create electromagnetic charge, and that charge creates light and turns the nucleus into a plasma state. So these clusters here that are not lit up yet will be lit up very shortly. And just look at the number of entities, and you can see that the tree branches are transparent. That's because they're not really tree branches any longer. They're made up of all these entities which have eaten the trees, or somehow done away with the trees and taken their place. So that's why the branches look transparent and translucent, and you can see through them, because these things have consumed the trees in this entire area. And when you look at a tree and see a tree, that's just an illusion of a tree. It's like a hologram. There is no tree, period. And you can see the size of them and how large they are. All of those are clusters. The entire screen is clusters. Some are white, some are pink, some are dark, but all are clusters. This entire screen is filled with clusters. That one is glowing, and those on the bottom of it are glowing. That's the one that started the whole thing around here. And you can see that it's a hexahedron. But just look behind and around it. Look at how many there are all around it. And it's made all of those. And you can see that the trees are transparent. There's a minimal amount of branches that you can see. Even those are composed of them. But most of the tree that you're looking at, that's an illusion. It's a hologram. It looks good from a distance. When you come up on it close, there's no tree there at all. Not one branch, not one leaf, not one bud, not one twig, nothing. Look at that. There is no tree that's real in that entire picture. And like I said, these things leave when it gets dark. They leave and go up to the sky, and half of those trees there will disappear because they're not really there anyway. It's all made from them. The whole tree image, the illusion, the hologram, it's all them. So when they leave, that leaves a gap in the clump of trees there, and there are no trees where they used to be until early in the morning before it gets light. They come back and pretend that they're trees. So if this sounds crazy, just look at it. I don't know how else to explain it. This is what's happening, and I don't know any other way to explain it, because these things are here and this is what they're doing, and the trees are gone, no doubt about it. I'll show you a large cluster on this side. Look at them all right there. Look at them all. Look how many. It makes you sick to your stomach to see that many all over. Look at the size of that cluster. Look how big that is. That's 20 feet in diameter. That's 20 feet. Look at the size of it. You can see that the orbs are even large on that one. And there's just, I don't know, just so many of them all over. Small and large. You can see that the branches are not real. Just watch one branch right here for a while. You'll see it dissipate and break up, and the whole thing is an illusion. Just watch that branch in front of the cluster and you'll see it break up and It's just an illusion. And look how many of them are in the foreground on the right hand side. Those are other clusters that are dark in appearance. I'm only showing you the ones that are easy to see, but all around there are more clusters, a billion times more than the ones I show you, that are harder to see because they are dark in appearance. And at night when they go to the sky, we have all these black clouds that just darken the entire sky, and you can't see a star or anything else in the sky. You just see blackness. Just keep looking at that branch. See it dissolve every now and then in places. Because there is no branch, there is no tree. That whole thing is a hologram, the tree part. The clusters are real, but the tree branch there, see, watch, it just disappeared. It's time to go up into the sky, so they just dissolve it and the tree is gone. Just watch that tree disappear, all the branches, it'll just vanish. And look at the activity level. Just look at the activity level. It only looks like a tree from a distance if you move off. But when you get close, this is what it is. Just watch those branches dissolve right in front of you. There's no tree there at all. It's all them. The whole thing is a hologram, that entire patch of trees and everything in that area, it's all them. Look at how many clusters there are. Those white clusters that are starting to glow. When they get to a high enough velocity, when the orbs gain enough velocity around their nucleus, those things will glow just as bright as the one that's glowing now. You can see the orbs picking up speed. Nighttime is their time. They do it in the daytime too, but especially at night. That never stops. That process is 24/7 around the clock. Look at the size of that large cluster right there. Just back off to get more of them in. Just look at the mass that's moving. That pink or white stuff that looks like treetops. That's not treetops. That's a mass of them. Just look at how large that is. And all those black things moving are them too. The trees there are gone. Just watch the tree dissolve. Even the big stump there, the trunk of a tree. Just watch it dissolve. And watch that cluster pick up speed. Look at those orbs go. They're gonna get faster and faster, and that thing's gonna light up like the most powerful light. We don't have lights that powerful. How much brightness that can put out. It'll be pure plasma in a little while. Look over here behind the glowing cluster. Look how many there are in the trees. Or what used to be trees. Look how many there are. Just look how many there are. There are clusters. All kinds of clusters. Orbs in the air. Orbs pretending to be trees. There's not one real tree there. In that whole clump, there's not a real tree at all. Watch the trees just dissolve. Watch the branches dissolve as those things take to the air. It is very important to start paying attention to these things, because what they're doing is dissolving all the matter, like trees, animals. Next will be people and buildings, because these things are all over and on everything, and they do not have the capacity to be alongside matter. They destroy matter. So, being that they're intelligent, they're destroying the lower life forms first, and then it'll be our turn. Look at the size of that cluster. It's straight up and down. Look at the size of it. They're just all over. They're just all over. It's like the biggest infestation I have ever seen in my entire life. Look at that. The whole tree, or what used to be the tree, is glowing with them. So this is what's happening right here in Toronto, right in front of my eyes. I've put on a lot of videos showing these things when they started to happen, and people said I was crazy, but sooner or later you're going to realize that I am not crazy, and that this thing is really going on, and these are alien entities which are dissolving our planet little by little, day by day, minute by minute. They are just dissolving our whole planet. And this is just one clump of trees near where I live, but look, here's another clump of trees. Those are gone already. Those are not trees anymore. That's a tree hologram. Look at that. The entire area there. That's a tree hologram. I'll go to another location and just fix the camera over here, far away from that place. We'll check this area out. Let's see what's here. Just more of them. Just more of them. Look at those clusters. Look at the size of those clusters. Those trees are gone as well. Those are no longer trees. Let's see these over here. They're gone too. I don't know anyone who can call those things trees anymore. All these things are going right up into our atmosphere. And they'll be flying around in the air. They can be small enough, subatomic size. We breathe them in. They can go in our water, we can drink them. They can go into our food, we can eat them. All kinds of things. Let's see what's happening here next to this electric outlet. Yeah, that's surrounded by them. Look at the clusters all over. So these things are just everywhere. Look at the size of that cluster. Yeah, all the woods around here. Look at the size of those things. Those are all clusters. The woods are full of them. Let's see over here. There's a big one right there. More that are glowing. There's one that's starting to light up. Look how many are there.